Hi everyone, welcome to my next build, which is at Tenpines. And this is a settlement that can be difficult to work with because of the varied terrain. And not a whole lot to work with, but we will give it our best shot. So we're coming in from the side entrance, and I tried to work with the terrain in this one. So first, let's go to the top of this building and do a panorama view so we can get an idea of what we're working with. There's just a guard shack here. There are a couple of caravan posts. I always try to do something different with these. They're a little boring when they're just plopped down. So there's another one. And it'll get a little lighter as we go on. There is our cattle pen, and I have built onto the existing structure. And there are some shops and some different buildings. And at one point we'll look at the fence, which I have rebuilt. Okay, let's go back down. And we will go past our second caravan post again here with our wallowing cow. And there we can see part of the rebuilt fence and the farming area. Kind of goes down there. We'll see it a little bit better when it gets lighter, but I wanted us to be able to see some of the lighting.
At least it's honest.
This is the clinic, and the settlers are jerks, so they knock things off even in just a couple of minutes. So this guy's just messy. I had everything organized for him. He knocked it down. Maybe he was upset at something. There's a floating switch, my favorite. And I like to use these as separators so they don't get sick, maybe. We go outside. We'll walk down this path. We'll look at a couple of the structures, but really the centerpiece of the settlement is this pavilion. I tried to string the lights between the posts a little bit. Grandpa Gamer is a guy who does a great job with that. And I combined several items to make tables and displays here. We can see a lot of pillar glitching going on over here. I sunk that guard shack into the ground, which I think looks really neat. They're kind of awkward otherwise. And then you can put one on top as well. So the guards have all their weapons, and I put the guns closer together, although that looks a bit awkward. There's another view of the pavilion. So now we can go around and get some water. Although it looks like our bin is filled with leaves. Typical. Then go in the power station real quick. I built a little bridge over top here, and we have our extra long generator. Some stuff over there. And a lighted shelf. Alright, next we have just another view of the building here. We have the town office, which is what we call them up here in New England. And there's a billboard for Dan's fans if you've seen my Oberlin build. This is the existing structure which we rebuilt into the town office. And mine up here has all of these official dealings. We have blueprints and newspapers and flyers. We have the outcome of a vote here. Looks like the motion was defeated. And then my actual town office has a lot of curios and maps and just community related relics. So I try to do a little bit of that. I live in a very small town up in Maine in the USA. Alright, just some collectibles displayed. Looks cozy in here, although there's some brush growing through. I just couldn't really do anything about that. Just have to live with some of these things in Fallout. Whoa, got right in my face. We'll come back to the community center. First, let's go upstairs to the player residence or the mayor's house, governor's mansion. Uh-oh, looks like they found it. They left the door open. They don't usually come up here. Wait, we store all of our Christmas items like good Americans. Gotta hoard Christmas stuff. Probably other places too, but I can't speak for the rest of you. I know here in the United States we love to hoard Christmas stuff. Half of our house is just taken up with storing Christmas stuff when it's not Christmas. Although it seems like Christmas is about half the year these days. Go to the Home Depot in August and there's Santa Claus statues. Okay, we can get another look at the fence here and kind of how I worked on rebuilding it. I combined the sandbags and some of the stone walls from Creation Club, and then I made conduit and pole wire fences, I guess. Literally wires. Alright, I cut through the bushes, and now we'll go into the community center. And there's a full porch here. Alright, there's a hostel upstairs we'll go, but first you can take out a book, get some coffee, something to read, and then you can get a souvenir from Tenpines. So when you go to another settlement, maybe you have a t-shirt. All I got was this lousy t-shirt. You can work out a little bit. Alright, let's take a look at the hostel. The shop under the stairs. You can sleep on the couch if you want. Or you can be kept awake all night by the snoring people. First time I went to Europe, I stayed in hostels, and I'm just a light sleeper. I ended up trying to sleep in the lobby. First place I stayed, outside of Amsterdam. Alright, here's another room. There's another one of my fold-out couches. Alright. Let's go outside and we'll take a look at the stuff along the left side. Always settlers. Move. Alright. Get some more look in the daytime of the fence. And then these guys. What are they doing? Well, we can only guess. At least they still have their clothes on. Alright. I go in here to the clothing store. We have a little shop area. And she'll sell you some things. There's a dad joke for you. If you like such things. This is a cozy little area where she lives. It's probably pretty hot in some of these player-built settlements. It's just metal. Although we are in Massachusetts, it doesn't really get terribly hot. Up here in Maine, it barely gets to 90 Fahrenheit most of the year in the summer. Although a few times it does. But I've lived farther south for most of my life, much farther. Alright, I worked with the hill here. I tried to make it look organic. And fit in with the existing environment. Same with this, because it's pretty hilly in this settlement. But I think we made it work here. We got all our tools and such. The work lights look great at night. And I really like the nail gun here and the nail box. I think it looks really cool. And we go to the Tenpines Ranch. You can put these little barbed wires in front of the gates and the animals won't leave, but you can go through them. They don't have a barrier for you, the player. And there's a look at some of the pathing into the settlement from that side. We've got some more fencing. And that cow just got out. What a jerk. Cows are jerks. Alright, we turn this into another little abode. And you can't move those mattresses, so I built a bunk on top of it. And here is a heater, a custom heater. I got that from Lou Rose 8058, who happens to be my wife. She builds as well. And we go outside here. We're going to walk around and get some more view of the fence here. And we'll get a daytime diorama and wrap this thing up. Was there a theme for Tenpines? I don't know. Here's the security shack. Wait. I was going to show you something, and then I forgot what it was, and then I remembered it was actually in the next settlement that I'm building, which is a redo of Egret Tours. That'll be next. What was I saying? It's hard to say. I don't know. Had to be there. Here's the second panorama. Daytime. Take a look at some of this. Kind of get a sense of the pathing from that side of the settlement. And there's the addition, the stores, the center, the town office, the pavilion, utilities, and the clinic. Alright, thanks for coming by again, I appreciate it. Comments are always welcome. Let me know what you think.